Okay, reports from the administration. Sorry, red.
I think it may be that the person is here or something, I think.
Your modern sound engineering, you talk about, these are the ones that looked at the security camera, and then I noticed there was something there possibly done by janitors. If you do put those cameras in, won't you have to have a licensed electrician now with the new state law?
I didn't have that conversation with him.
Okay.
It sounded from when we were walking around the building, you know, when it was Bruce and I walking around with this gentleman from Fort Dodge, and he made it sound like we could have some of our own people do the wiring, but we didn't have that specific conversation. So,
Tell me about the cameras and what you hope to, who's going to monitor them as you monitor them, kind of like on the bus? Is there going to be like after the fact punishment, or, I mean, the bus driver can't monitor the cameras as he's moving, and I assume...
that's what it would be, is, you know, if an incident happened, you know, 2 days ago, it gets reported to us, you would have to go back and look. There's basically a recording device and up to 16 cameras that can be linked to this recording device. I think depending upon the size of the recorder, you know, it can hold up and store up from, you know, 4 weeks to 4 months of information. But the gentleman basically said, you know, I just asked him if we're talking about a general system that you put in schools, what are we talking about? And he said, you know, it's basically the system that carried about 4 weeks on its hard drive, and then after that, you know, it replays or re-records over that hard drive, so you'd have about 4 weeks of information. So that's what it would be used for. It'd be looking back at information. Same thing what we do with bus cameras right now, looking back for information of reports that occurred.
Or vandalism that might take place where all of a sudden custodians might discover it, or a bus driver might discover something happened, you know. I want everybody to take a look and pick up on their bus and realize there's been some vandalism or something like that. You can do that quick, look back at it.
And essentially we looked at, you know, the cafeteria area, the lobby area, the entrances, and the hallways. And you're trying to balance, as you're walking around with this guy, he said that he's been in this business for 37 years, but you're trying to balance of, okay, this guy's a salesman, so he's trying to sell his product. Also along with the idea of you want to have enough cameras to, you know, to also show what it is that you need to see. So he talked 2 or 3 cameras per hallway is what he was talking about as we walked around. So, but we have not seen a quote back from him.
Can you give me examples of other schools that have used this?
That have used this company?
No, have used cameras in the schools so that we'd have an idea as to who to talk to.
Well, Lakeview Auburn had cameras, and only don't use them any longer because the system is old. It just isn't very effective. That the middle school, high schools at Lakeview had cameras for looking at John 10. They were there before I got there, which was more than 8 years ago. And it was in hallways or around locker areas. They wouldn't be in bathrooms or locker rooms, but they would be in hallways, in entry areas, exit areas.
Humboldt used them, which is where I taught. Yeah.
Shaler Crestland has a camera system. I want to say maybe Odebold Arthur does, Odebold OA, BCIG. I'm not sure if BCIG does.
Douglas 11 also has one, or has a system.
And Christmas has been broken during
The one across
Christmas
the
school.
school.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Are you looking at cameras on the exteriors of the buildings
Yeah,
also?
Yeah, and these cameras, there's certain ones that'll be infrared, so if something happens at night, for example, someone trying to break into the building, it's an infrared camera, which would be able to identify who that is instead of just a dark figure.
So you're getting your freezer put in, or the concrete's laid anyway. Did that freezer come out of our hot lunch account? You know?
I'd have to go back and take a look. I believe that it did come out of hot lunch, didn't
I
it?
see there was a, looked like something came out, but you couldn't tell by looking at the report. So you maybe need to identify which funds these things are coming from. So.
Did all 10 of the kids who qualified for summer school show up today?
We've got a few finishing up driver's ed yet. So those students who finish up driver's ed, these are the students down in Lakeview. There's 3 or 4 that will finish up driver's ed on Wednesday, and then they'll come right over to summer school then on Thursday. Everyone else showed up that was expected.
Any other questions for Denny?